Greetings, 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 and welcome to yet again another Girl, Who Don't You Know? It's with Marilyn Green. You know me, the hostess with the mostest, right? Okay. So, guess what? I got a fantabulous guest on today. All my guests are fabulous, but I'm going to give her a different name. It's fantabulous, okay? And this month we know is October. If you're looking at it later or whatever, it's October. And every October, Girl Who Don't You Know is going to congratulate and honor the fighters who fought and won with breast cancers. So I'm going to bring on the fighters, the thrivers, and all that. And I love for them to tell their story. I know that telling a story really heals you. Okay. Not only does it heal you, it also lets somebody going through to heal them as well. So it's a win-win situation. So when I bring these heroes on, that's my goal on Girl Who Don't You Know. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up, and I had to talk about a little bit. I mean, I know she's not one of the Supremes, but her name is like the Supremes. It's Mary L. Wilson. Mary, how you doing today?
I am well, Marilyn. How are you
I
today?
am simply fabulous, 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 fabulous. But you know what, Mary, before we get started, okay, I
hmm
forgot to do something. And let me just say it. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. So thank you so much.
Do
Mary, let's back to you. Not Mary, I'm so happy that you can join me first and foremost.
okay.
And I know you got a story, and I believe that every person who has any type of dis-ease with this has a
hmm
story. Okay.
Yes,
So we are
yes.
here to hear your story, and you just go on and start talking, and then I'll jump in when I need to talk in or whatever. But you just go on and do so. You started off the way you want to start it.
First off, I want to say thank you for having me.
Of course.
Okay, thank you for having me, and thank you for that beautiful introduction. Well, you know what, Marilyn? Life is good at the moment. Life is beautiful. Life is life, but it's beautiful. But I went through a journey. It wasn't pleasant at all, but I knew God had something for me
Mm-hmm.
because He didn't bring me to it not to bring me through it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm one night, just to give you the backstory,
Right.
I'm laying in bed. I'm talking to one of my good friends who's no longer here. And I don't know, for some reason, I just went up under my arm and felt a knot. Now, let me do a little backstory. This was October 2014. Halloween, I went and got my very first mammogram because cancer runs rapidly in my family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's bad in the family. So I got my very first mammogram. So before I even make it home, I get home and check my answering machine, and the doctor has left me a message telling me that I need to call them or whatever. So, at that time, I'm very nervous. I call back. We talk. They tell me I need to come back in because they have nothing to compare the results with.
Yes.
So they need to take it again. So I'm like, okay, why do they do that? Anyway, I went back. Everything was good. We're going to fast forward 6 months later. Come March, I'm, excuse me, laying in the bed, talking to one of my good friends. We looking at TV. I just go up under my arm and I feel it's not. And I was like, this strange. I've never, because I know it don't supposed to be there. We know how our body feels and how,
Yes. Yes.
what's good and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling, and she like, what's wrong? And I tell her, she say, you need to get on there really quick. I say, I am, because that I learned how to do a self-examination. They taught me that when they gave me my mammogram. So I got up, stood in front of the mirror, and I did. And I was like, this not. It's just, it don't supposed to be there. It didn't bother me. It wasn't sore or anything. But when I discovered it, it was sore.
Mm.
It started bothering me. But the very next day, I made an appointment. Went to the doctor, I think like maybe a week later. I got in. My doctor started talking to me or whatever. I'm nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, well, She didn't lie to me. She say, let's get a biopsy. I'm like,
Wow.
okay. So she got the biopsy. She said, I'm going to call you with the results. Now, this is on a Tuesday, a Monday or a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So she said it could be tomorrow or it could be in a couple of days. I'm like, well, can you just get the results so I can get this over with so I don't have to be weary or whatever?
Right. Right.
I didn't get results until Friday.
Oh.
But when yes, I had to wait all that time. I was so nervous to where I couldn't do nothing but just lay down. I had cleaned the house so much it wasn't nothing else to do. Like literally. So she called, and when my phone rang and she's like, maybe this Dr. Bunting. I knew what it was. I can hear it in her voice. So she said, yes, it is, cancer. She told me I was in stage 2 or whatever she said, but trust me, she said, I'm going to have the nurses call you back and we're going to talk about your treatments and everything. So I'm going to set up an appointment. You come in and I'll let you know what we need to do from there. She said, only thing I do, she said, we're going to get through this because technology is so different than it was, 20 years ago. She said, just trust me and I'm going to get you through this. I say, thank you for that, Dr. Bunting. I say, well, right now I ain't trusting nobody but God.
Come on.
I said, because that's who's going to get me through this. I said, he's going to help you get me through it,
Come on. Come
And she
on.
said, I like that. I like that. And my doctor and I, we formed a really, really good relationship. Like, she was really, really good. Fast forward, I went to the doctor. We had to get a bigger conference room. When I tell you, my aunties, my mamas, my kids, everybody, my friend, everybody was there. But I had this
Wow.
one friend. She asked all the questions that needed to be asked. She told my mama, "You just relax. We gonna get this." So I went. They told me everything. They was like it was aggressive that we were gonna have to start treatment immediately and things like that. They wanted me to come back the next day to get my port and everything in.
Wow.
Yes. And one thing about cancer, the unknown is scary. The unknown is so scary because I'm being introduced to all these new things that I know nothing about. I've heard of them, but I've never heard of it to this extent. Now that I'm going through it myself. So I go get all this stuff in my body. They telling me what kind of treatments I'm taking. Marilyn, when they told me I'm going to take this treatment called the Red Devil,
Uh-uh.
I said, what? I said, the Red Devil? What? What kind of name is
What
that?
is
I
that?
see why. It's the treatment they use for your chemo.
Liquid.
It liquid. It's called a Red Devil.
Okay.
And you urinate it out.
Ew. Okay.
Yeah, you urinate it out. So I went to get my first treatment. I actually could not get my first treatment because my port wasn't inserted correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, went all the way from my neck all the way down from here, and I was like, it was very uncomfortable. However, they couldn't get it through. I had to get that taken out and reinserted.
Ooh.
So when they did that, they did it just from right here because the cancer was in my left breast.
Okay.
So I'm going through it. And so finally, we got everything together where it was time for me to start my treatment. And I was just like nervous because I was like, Lord, I don't know what's about to happen, but I know you got me.
Yes. Yes.
My
Amen.
when I tell you I got that stupid crazy faith, and that's what I call it, that stupid crazy faith, because I can't nobody tell me God is not real. I
Nobody.
knew he was going to do it for me. I knew he was going to do it for me. And so I went through it, and the chemo did me so bad
Ooh.
that they literally had to stop giving it to me. So when I tell you, when I was diagnosed and she told me I was a 2, when I went back that following week to start my treatment, it had increased already to a 3.
What?
I was in stage 3,
In one
yes,
week?
in 1 week.
Wow.
In us black women, it is so aggressive. It is so aggressive in us. I went through the treatments. I had a amazing support system. That's the one thing that you have to have when you're going through something. You have to have that support system.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. There's no way around it. So as I was getting closer to ending my chemo treatments, I asked my mom some days, I say, would you feel bad if I just want to go alone today? And she was like, no, I don't want to overstep. I give you that time that you need.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked my daughter, would you feel bad if I go along today? And my reason for that is because it was this little lady there. And I would see her every week, but she would be by herself.
Oh,
She was,
I get it.
she was Yeah, she was so mean. Like, she was so mean. When the kids was there, because they like us to snack when we taking chemo, and I tell my son or my daughter or my sister, whoever went with me, go over there and ask if she wants something. No, she was real snappy. She
Mm-hmm.
was just like, no, she was just mean. And so I was talking to my mom. I said, she probably mean because she going through this alone, and she,
Right.
this is how she cope or whatever. So at the end of my treatments, my mom, nobody went with me. They'll just drop me off and be waiting for me. And for whatever reason, I just could not stop talking to her. She would shut me down. She would be mean or whatever. And I would sit right next to her.
Right.
Because any other time, I'd sit right across
That's
the
right.
room.
That's right.
I would sit right next to her. And so the ice, I started breaking the ice. I was like, how you doing today, Miss Shepherd? I'm okay. Just real snappy. So eventually, I said probably about four treatments in, we were sitting talking, find out her kids don't come and see her. They don't have anything to do with her, and this and that. And at the end, she told me, because she was ending before I was, her treatments. She told me, "Thank you so much." I asked her, I say, "Well, why you treat me so bad when I first met you?" She said, "I don't know, because you always came in here jolly, and you was always fashionable, and you was
Come on,
just
girl.
happy." I said, you know what? I said, because we can't let things like this defeat us. I said, we have to defeat it.
Mm-hmm.
I say, we don't have to look like what we going through. I say, you don't even know how them days I would get up. Merlin, on Tuesdays when it was time for me to go to chemo, I cried like a baby. I just hated all that stuff going inside of me. It was long. It was drawn out. And like the second treatment, I just felt my hair started coming out. Now, I've had long hair all my life, long, beautiful hair.
That's what I wanted to jump in and ask you. I wrote a note. I said, now, did you have a bald head before or
Mm-mm.
not?
Well, no, during the cancer, I had a bald head.
Okay, but you
But
had hair
now,
before, and then
yeah, I
you
had hair
you got the
before.
bald head. And let me just jump in and say, because I see a lot of people doing it now. What made you keep that bald head?
I didn't keep it. I went back to trying to wear regular hairstyles, but the chemo and the treatments had did really a bad number on it. Grew back really well, different texture. I already had a nice grade,
Mm-hmm.
but it grew back. But it was just something about that middle that it wouldn't grow back.
Mm.
So I was wearing braids. I was doing all of that, and so you know what? It started to depress me after the treatments and everything. It started to depress me, and I said, you know what? Before I let her depress me, because I had it all my life, my mama used to always tell me, stop cutting your glory,
Yes.
because it was so
Yes.
beautiful. And I was like, it ain't nothing but her. It's gonna grow back. And it did grow back, but it didn't grow back up here.
Wow.
So I called my cousin over one day, because he's a barber. I said, can you come and cut my hair? He was like, yeah. He got over there. He thinking he was just coming to shake me up, because I had the little sponge at first.
Mm-hmm.
He's cutting. I said, what are you doing? I said, cut it off. He said, off. I said, off. This was in 22.
What?
After my good friend passed, I cut all my hair off.
Wow.
And because it was really, like I say, depressing me. And he cut it off. And I said, before I let this hair depress me and send me into a stage in my life I don't want to be, I'll let it go. This hair does not define who I am.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, I got a
and,
question. I said, wait a minute, let me write this down. She had a bald head before, after. What happened with
mm-mm.
this? Now, let me ask you this real quick. Now, I see, based on the angle we see, that the girls is right there. Okay.
Yeah,
So are they your girls?
they're my girls.
And what did your girls got
Well,
it? Did your girls have to be touched or augmented, or what
yeah.
happened with
What
them
happened?
girls?
Let me see. I always been top
All
heavy.
right.
Always been top heavy. And so when I went in, I'm gonna tell you this story, and it's a true story. I promise, this is a very true story. When it was time for me to make a decision where I wanted them cut off, or if I wanted to get the cancer taken, I really Anyway, because my mind's going blank
A
right now.
no-brainer.
But lumpectomy.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept on saying, as a woman, for me, my breasts have always been, I've always loved them, okay?
Okay. They
And so
yours. They yours.
they mine, and they was, like I say, top heavy. So my doctor said, well, we getting down to the time where we need to know what we gonna do. Are we gonna cut them off and get that tummy tuck that you say you want,
Okay.
or are we gonna just right, or we just gonna cut them, or we just gonna get the cancer out? So me being a woman and not living without my breast, it bothered me.
Uh-huh.
Where I went to get counseling for it, but I said I want to live. You know, they can put me some more breasts on, but I couldn't get past me being a woman and not having breasts.
Okay.
I don't know why it was so hard for me,
It's
but it
okay.
was. So I went and I talked to the counselor about it, and I said, you know what? You know, she was telling me all kind of things. I was in therapy with other women as well.
Okay.
So I said, you know what? Let me go talk to the person I know that's gonna help me with this. So I talked to God about it. So my pastor and I and a few other ladies went on a weekend retreat in Branson.
Mm-hmm.
And we was having a good time and everything. So this particular event, we went to Walmart. My pastor had bought this yellow little pretty little top. And something was wrong with it. She was like, well, let me see if I can get something off of this. And I'll go ahead and sew this up. Because this top is really pretty and I really like it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I said, well, yeah, go ahead, Pastor, go see. Fast forward, when we got back to our cabin that night, I go to bed, I have a dream.
Mm-hmm.
I have a dream that I walk into a Bible study on Thursday night. My pastor has on that yellow shirt that she bought.
Mm-hmm.
I walk in, this is my dream. I walk in, pastor tell me, daughter, come here. Let me tell you what the Lord told me to tell you. So I go and she tell me, don't cut your breast off. The Lord say, go ahead and get the cancer cut off the left breast. That cancer is never coming back. You don't ever have to worry about it again. This in a dream. I get up.
Woo.
I didn't share it with nobody. I said, okay, Lord, is that confirmation? So we left the cabin Sunday, goes to Bible study on Thursday night like I usually do. Marilyn and I walks in the church. My pastor has on that yellow shirt.
Come on now. Come on.
Okay?
Come on.
She has on that yellow shirt. And I kind of stumbled when I walked in the door because she was up there. She was praying. And I said, okay. Soon as she was done, I stood at the door. Come here, daughter. Call me on up there. She said, the Lord told me to tell you, don't get them breasts cut out. Just get that cancer cut out
Girl,
there.
stop it.
When I
Stop
tell you,
it.
I said, okay, Lord. Because I was so conflicted. I just did not know what to do
Amen.
regarding that
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
I said, okay, Lord. So my appointment was the next day, which was Friday, and I had to tell, my oncologist what I wanted. I walk in the office. She say, yeah, Mary, I've been thinking, and I know I'm not your body, but I don't think you should get your breast cut out. I think you just should get the cancer cut
Oh
out.
my God. You done
And I
got
looked
two
at her,
confirmations. Two.
three,
Three.
the dream,
Uh-huh.
my pastor again, and then her.
Great.
And when she said that, me and her, we always joking because I'm just a little social butterfly. I'm a Libra,
Okay.
so I love people.
All right.
So when she said that, tears just started falling from my eyes. And she was like, what? Did I say something wrong? So you didn't say anything wrong. And I was like, well, I want that tummy tuck because I want to be. But I didn't want to go through the process because that's like almost a year process with the fillers. They got to get your breast together and take all that out your stomach and put it in your breast and things like that. So that right there, that's how I end up. So when I went,
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
can't do one breast without doing the other one now. So when she went, she took the cancer out of this. They took the port out. The surgeon is from the Renaissance. His name is Dr. Miller, who did my breast augmentation. I love him. He did amazing. And so when I was getting ready to go back into surgery was 5.5 hours. 5.5 hours. And she told me, and when she took me back,
Wow.
I knew something was wrong because they brought me back out and scheduled my surgery for later. So I said, Dr. Blunty, something going on. Don't kid me. Tell me what's going on, because this is my life. She said, well, the cancer has spread it, Mary, way beyond where the clip
What?
is for the biopsy. Yes. You know, when you get the biopsy, they leave this little clip
What?
in you, and it tells you where the cancer is. She said, it has spread it beyond that.
Yeah,
And
it's a
my
little clear.
first thought, well, if it spread it, you cut
Mm-hmm.
me open, it's going to spread further. You know, this how the devil working with you, like, yeah, you finna die. I said, my mom came in there and my auntie,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, she
Right.
told them what was going on, and
Right.
they took me back, and they just immediately started praying. My mom, my auntie, and my sister, they just immediately started praying. And so my best friend, she a big crybaby. She just bust out crying or whatever. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to draw my... she a big crybaby. I said, you know what, Lord? I said, I'm going to dry my face and I'm going to go back here, because
Oh
I know
God.
you're going to guide these doctors' hands and they're going to do what they supposed to do for me, because you're not ready for me yet, because I got work to do. Went back there. The
Mm-hmm.
surgery was long. They lift.
Yes.
I got
Yes.
a lift out of it. Okay. And so, yeah, that's why the girls are up like this now.
Okay.
And look, and I got a good bra on.
I'm saying, I'm like, goodness, what? I can.
I got that good bra,
Okay,
you
look.
know. That's what happened.
Right, I was
And I tell
sitting
you,
here and
that
I
was
said, wait,
really
what
a
happened with
trying
the
time trying to
girls? What
decide if I
happened with the
wanted them
girls?
off. Because, you know, I don't want it to come back. It's still a 1% chance it can come back, even with you getting them cut off. So, yeah. Yeah, but don't get me wrong. That one with the left breast where they
Mm.
actually got the cancer out of, that one sit up like it's 21 or just growing. But that one that they didn't cut nothing out of, they did lift it. It still falls sometime, okay?
Okay. But the bottom line is, and what I'm really loving and digging here and stuff, is that your experience was based on your
Yes.
faith in
That's
God.
it. That's all.
Your experience, and I took some notes here, and some of the things that you're saying. So, if somebody out there, you going through it right now, or you've been through it, you can attest to this, that a support
That's
system is
it.
what you need.
And God,
Okay. I mean, a serious support
for real.
system.
For real.
Yeah, yeah. In order to go through it, and when you talked about that little lady, I could just say the reason why you were there, that you were there for
Yeah.
her. It's all about the timing of
Mm-hmm.
God in your
Really.
life, So your attitude, as they say, will determine your attitude will determine your
It
aptitude.
does.
Okay, so therefore, with you, you said something about, you said your support system. You said something about the therapy. Talk a little bit about that therapy and
Hmm.
how some people are saying, I ain't gotta go to nobody. Now, a long time
We
ago,
ain't
we
gonna
didn't
see
go to see
nobody.
nobody, right? But now, but now, it's almost like an end thing. It's trending. But tell me how you felt about that. Did you want to go or
You
not
know
go,
what?
or what
I
happened?
was a little, at first I was like, nah, no. But then I said, they don't know me. I don't know them. You heard me?
Let's get
And
it.
I went in there and I sat down, and I'm glad that I did go, because I met some amazing women that I still talk to right now today. And
Right.
when I went,
Good.
now this the first time I went because I didn't know if I want my breast cut off. But then I went to another therapist just to talk about everything that was going on while I was going through it. So, and when I
Right.
tell you, therapy is the best thing that we have going for us, because you're talking to
Okay.
somebody that don't know you. You can sit down and you can talk and you can relax and you can feel comfortable doing it. You know, you can pretty much walk into a room and know if you got a chemistry with this person. Now, I don't want to
That's right.
seem biased or anything, but I wanted a brown girl. Okay, I needed this
Okay.
brown girl because I
Okay.
need you to know what I'm talking about. You know, because we kind of
Mm-hmm.
experienced the
Mm-hmm.
same things. So I got me a
Mm-hmm.
brown
Mm-hmm.
girl and we talked. We had some serious
Okay.
talking. Okay. And when I tell you it was the best thing for me, like I just it was good for me. It was good for me. And my daughter at the time, she had like just got married a couple of years before the cancer happened or whatever. And I didn't want to be a burden on her, because she was just beginning
Right.
her life or whatever. But she was like, if you don't come down here in this extra bedroom and be quiet and lay down and let me do what needs to be done for you. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like when I tell you it was life, the bills, the this, the that. Let me tell you, as soon as I went to court. I have to still thank God for this right now today. I had went to court and the lady said, I want her out right now. I did not understand why this lady was so mad at me because I couldn't pay this rent anymore. So I went and she never came to court. She always sent her attorney to court. So the first time we went,
Right.
the judge say, well, we're going to continue this case because I can't remember why we continued the case. But at that time, the lawyer was like, well, we can continue next Tuesday. And because they wanted me out in 30 days. They wanted me out in
Mm.
7 days. I take that back.
Now let me jump in, Mary. So we talk behind the scene. So this is happening while she's
While I'm
going
going
through
through
all
my.
this. Was this happening while? So I'm just trying to get an
Okay.
audience the backdrop of it, that she told me in what I call the green room.
Mm-hmm.
She told me behind the scenes that it wasn't the cancer, it was the lifing that was just gone crazy. And part of it was she was getting ready to get evicted. So
When
go
I
ahead with the
life
story.
was
I'm
life,
sorry.
and at that moment, okay, I had
Mm-hmm.
just started treatment. I was probably maybe 5 or 6 in, and so the like I said, my landlord, she never came to court. It was always, she always sent her attorney. I would go and sit at this lady house. I would sit and talk to her for hours because she didn't stay far from her rental property. This was in St. Anne. She
Mm-hmm.
stayed in Bridgeton. So I go to court. I went with a good friend at the time. And so they was like, well, we want her out in 7 days. And at that time, when I tell you all my nail buds had fell out, my stuff was coming through my hands. I
Mm.
had to wear gloves, and
Wow.
whatever was escaping my body from my nail bit, it stunk so bad. It stunk.
Was
That
that
was
from
from
the
the chemo.
chemo? Your
The
fingernail, the
Yes,
bed, the
it came
actual,
off.
the
Yes,
top.
yes, and my hands were so dark.
Wow.
Yes. And I think my
Mm-hmm.
face wasn't as dark as my other body because my auntie, she is so into fitness or whatever, so she kept me with 100% coconut oil and things like that to rub on my body to keep me from burning so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to
Mm-hmm.
court. They said we want her out in 7 days, and my friend was next to me. I was like, my fingers were so sore when I tell you I couldn't touch nothing. I was in that much pain. I
Wow.
was like, I got a pack. I can't do this. She said, then you say you got that crazy faith. I said, yeah. She said, well, sit down and stand on that crazy faith right now. So she said, when you go up there, you tell them you're going to take this to trial because you can't do anything. I said, well, we can do that. She said, yeah, you can do that. I guess in front of the judge, I never told him I had cancer. When I walked up front, he seen my bald head. He seen gloves
Mm-hmm.
on my head. He said, so can we continue on next Tuesday? And he asked the attorney. He said, yeah. He asked me. I said, well, Judge, I have my treatments on Tuesdays. He said, what treatments? I said, my chemo treatments. He said, you have chemo treatment, you have cancer? I said, yes. I said, but I don't want that to be a reason because I said, I'm not trying to stay in this lady house without paying her. I said, I've never not paid her. I said, I'm not working. I say,
Right.
I am behind. I said, but my mom and them have paid me up. I said, but going forward, I know I'm going to have to move because they can't continue to pay my rent for me or whatever. He was like, are you
Mm-hmm.
going through cancer? I
Mm-hmm.
said, yes, sir. He was an older white guy. I say, so on Tuesdays, I have my chemo treatments. I say, and they are very tiresome. I say, I can't come after because when I get done, the only thing I can do is go home and lay down because I'm drained. And
Right.
so he
Right.
asked the attorney, so what other day did you have? And the day that the judge had, he wasn't available. So they went to the next week. The attorney wasn't available. The judge said, you know what, we're not going to do this. I'm going to see y'all back in 30 days. Okay?
Come on.
I
Come
said,
on.
come on, Lord. So then, after
There you go.
that, the 30 days, I started just packing slowly because I know I had to leave that lady house. I wasn't trying to stay there and not pay her. But I was
Exactly,
giving her
exactly.
something. My mom and my auntie had paid me up for like 3 months. Them 3 months was like, getting ready to be over. But she had already wanted me out because I was late. That's the point. I still can't get that. But anyway, I said, okay, I didn't want to move from where I was. I found me a house. The address where I was at was 4002. I moved to 4048.
But also, let me add this for the people, the audience. She didn't have no job. She lost her
Uh,
job. She was about to get evicted. She had cancer. She had all that. But the one thing that she had is that she still
I
had
did.
joy.
I did.
Amen. You still have
I did.
joy, right?
hmm
Right. So go
And
ahead. I'm
so
sorry,
the
Mary, but I
day
want to make sure because I know
the
we
day
talk, but I want to make sure
okay.
they know.
And the day I came back from court that day, I'm sitting outside. Who pulls up? LeClee Gas at the time. And so he was like, well, we got a disconnection. I was tired of trying to fight and find and do this. I said, okay. I sat on the porch, tears just streaming from my eyes. It was beautiful outside too. And I said, well, I ain't got no gas now. Everything, what was it? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had a gas stove. So I said, okay, Lord, however, you will work it out. And so when I went in the house, because I was outside, I went in the house. So I was just like, I don't know, something said turn on the stove. I turned the stove on, everything was still on.
I'm loving your story, and I'm wanting the people out there in YouTube land, Facebook land, wherever land you in. Okay, the whole thing of this is that, and let me just say this first of all, I didn't know Mary until today. Okay, so everything that I'm hearing and you hearing, this is brand new stuff for me. But what I am hearing and what I want to bring, as I said, is that hope is that even though you're going through, all right, just go through it, okay, and have a great
Go
super
through it.
attitude about it, and just hang on to, as they say in the old Baptist song. I mean, my mom used to say, "Hang on to God's unchanging hand." Okay, that's
Yes,
where you
yes.
need to be. So let me ask you
Mm-hmm.
this really quick, okay? Is that you went through all that, the cancer, the stove supposed to be off and it ain't off, okay? Your faith in God, the
Mm-hmm.
yellow shirt. Let's go there. You done went through a whole
Yeah.
lot of, right? But through all
Yes.
that, and I want to tell you guys, she is an author with books on Amazon.com. Hello. So she
Yes,
still kept it
ma'am.
rolling in the midst of it, you know. And
Okay.
when I have people on my show, I'm gonna tell you, Mary, it ain't just for what we doing right now. It's for anybody,
Mm-hmm.
lottie dottie, to say,
Right.
please keep going. Don't be stuck, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be stuck in what you in right now, because it's understandable life gonna be life, but guess what? You ain't got to take the ride with the negative part. You
You
really
don't.
do not have to take the rides. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, she got books out here. Her latest book is Gracefully Broken. Okay, is that coming out? Is it out yet already?
It isn't out yet. I'm gonna give that a Thanksgiving or Christmas book because we're still working on some things
Okay,
with that.
so
But it will be
okay,
25.
2025. And I love that about this thing.
Yes,
Here, this is a
ma'am.
project. I'm going to get this done. But the bottom line is when
Mm-hmm.
that book comes out or whatever, please send me a copy or whatever. And I'd love to have you back on my show
I
to
absolutely
talk about
will.
Gracefully Broken because I just like the sound of it. She got some other books too, but this book right here really is the change of her, I believe. Okay. Okay,
It
because she
is.
got
I
some. If
promise
you
you it
go on there
is.
and look at it, and I won't even say the titles, but nevertheless, they something else. Okay, from just the title, they.
They are.
You want the new and improved Mary. Okay, so
You do. I promise you,
it's
you
the,
do.
it's the new and improved. So hey, we're about at the end of this today, and I asked my guests, so for one or two positive messages. And one of the things that you said is live your life to the best of your ability and do what makes you happy. Talk about that for a second, and then we're going to close. Tell me.
Let me tell you, everybody else do what makes them happy. Okay? People can tell you this. People gonna talk regardless. You doing good, you
Mm-hmm.
doing bad. Do you, so you can be happy. You can't live for no one else. You gotta live for you. My daddy always told me he learned to live and live to
Okay.
learn. And if I've never heard anything so true in my life, those words right there speak
That's
volume.
right. I love it.
Because we have to live to learn, and then we learn to live,
Uh-huh.
you know. And I just keep going because there's days that you sit around, you be like, this just too much. No, keep pushing, because if you give up, you'll never know where you can go or where you can be or where you would end up at if you
That's
quit.
right. Amen. And I want to add something else. You're not here for yourself. Okay. If you
Mm-mm.
quit, then
Mm-mm.
guess what? That next person that you're supposed to talk to, they may not get what they need to get from
Mm-hmm.
you, because we are all know, and I always use this example. We know it's the same Bible. They got the Amplified, the NIV, they got all type of stuff, right? You
All
done
of them.
heard the Psalms 23rd for years, right? The Lord is my shepherd. But
Mm-hmm.
however, it's not until Pastor X says it that you get it in your spirit. So what I'm
See.
saying is this: that keep going, but
Mm-hmm.
just know that somebody out there needs you, okay, to tell your story. So, all right then, man, this has been real live. We talked about bald heads. We talked about them girls. We done talked about a whole bunch of different things. We talked about life, and we talked about just different things. But nevertheless, Mary, I appreciate you coming on and telling your truth, okay, of what happened to you. And if you guys are listening out there and you really going through something and stuff, hey, go do what she said. Get the therapy. Okay. Work on a support system. Have joy. Believe God. That's basically what she's saying. So, hey, this is Marilyn Green, and you know me. I'm the hostess with the mostest. And you've been listening to Girl, Who Don't You Know? And please, please, please like, subscribe, and put on your notification bell, because I got some other amazing women that are coming on to talk about their journey with this dis-ease. So until next time, take care.